listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex here. We are back with episode 79 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good, man. Like, I think I was telling you this already. I was really looking forward to this episode because I guess for one, this is the industry that I've really been diving into a lot over the past like half a year, and so I was really excited to talk to our guests. But overall, just my personal how I am, like I'm in a really good place right now, just as far as like my mindset and just continuously elevating myself. It's really more so mentally than anything else, just about like where I am mentally. I think I'm just like in a whole different space than where I was even a month or two ago. I guess I really owe a lot of that to the boot camp that I went to, the content creation boot camp. I actually signed up to go back this in April 18th. So I'll be attending all over again, but I think I can keep on taking away a lot of stuff from just that boot camp in general. I think it just really changed my life so much that it's worth going back again.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I think, if you got a lot of value from it the first time, you should hopefully be able to, get even more this time, if not, at least the same amount. So that's dope. I think, it's always good to invest into yourself. That's a great way to invest in yourself, going to those kind of things in terms of, like boot camps like that. And it's so crazy because I was thinking about earlier this week, just in terms of like something big kind of this era that we live in now in terms of like the information age, and like how I really feel like we're having a revolution in terms of how people learn things. It's like the old way of learning things in terms of going to school and learning from professors and teachers that don't teach anything, or that don't actually do the things that they're teaching, is kind of, people are realizing how stupid that is and how stupid that concept is. Especially if I'm not sitting here, chopping or, getting on the school system. I mean, I am, but for most things, in terms of like, if you want to be like a doctor or an engineer or something like that, that's fine. You can go do that. But in general, in terms of like, everything else, man, you really can't, like, obviously we've known this, but it's kind of like I really feel like we're in the midst of a revolution where people are waking up to the fact that, man, you can learn so much just, on the internet today. And this information age is just changing the game for a lot of things. Like, this is, I feel like, going to put a lot of schools out of business, which, people don't know, universities, colleges are businesses. They're not institutions of higher learning, like they like to call them. These are straight businesses. They have endowments, and they have, profit and losses. The only thing missing is they just got an IPO and go public. These are businesses. So my whole thing with that is, I kind of see this. I feel like we're in the middle of it because, a lot of people are going to start realizing, man, you've done things like your parents for so long. You've done things like your grandparents. You've done all these things generation after generation, and you're not getting no new result. It's the same thing. You're getting middle class at best. Now, I don't really even believe in the middle class, so it's really like poverty at best. The being poor at best. Like you're working until you die at best. And so people are gonna start to realize, like, hey, if I want a different life, I'm gonna have to do different things. Especially when you can actually start seeing other people that did different things living a different life than you. Because it's like, even with posting the stuff that we post on social media and that kind of stuff, when it gets to a point where it's like we're financially free and we're posting about, our vacations and like all this other stuff on a regular basis, a lot of people that we went to school with are going to be looking and it's like, oh, shoot, dang, they actually did it, right? And they actually are living a different life because they're going to see, they saw all the work that was happening the previous 5 to 10 years, right? So they've been seeing that whole thing. So when it gets to a point where it's like they're living a different life, people are going to see like, oh, so there actually is a different way to do this, right? I don't have to actually just go to school and work until, or go to school, get a job, work until I die, and get 2 weeks off. Like, that's not the life that I want to live. So I'm really just, glad that we're going to be examples for that, for a lot of people that are, our age, and a lot of people that we know. Because if you know us from growing up and like all that kind of stuff, we're gonna be at a certain point in life in a few years, and it's like it's gonna be based off of all the work and the things that were done for the years before, which you saw as well. So it ain't gonna be nothing that's like a scam. Ain't gonna be nothing that you got lucky. Ain't gonna be nothing like that, right? It was just based off. We just did something differently from the get go. So that's kind of what I'm kind of realizing right now, just in this whole day and age that we live in. And it's like it's all because of the revolution that's happening with the information that you can get and you can learn from real people that are actually doing the things that you want to do. There's people out there that are having businesses and they're teaching people how to get into business. And it's like, that's a whole other thing as well, too. And I'm a firm believer in the fact anybody that is a step ahead of you can teach anything, just in this day and age, because it's going to, number one, be a lot more relatable to you as opposed to learning it probably from someone that's 80 miles ahead of you, which you can learn it from anyone. But I promise you, it's probably going to be, if you're learning from someone that's like, because for me, like us, right, we don't have 1,000 rental properties. We don't have 500 flips under our belt. We've done what, 10, 11, 12 deals total. So, but we're able to teach based on our experiences, and it makes it a lot more relatable because we're not too far removed from where you are.
That's like, what inspires a lot of people, is that the fact that you see it, they're not too far away. Let me hop on now before they end up at 50 rental properties, before they end up at the 5 apartment complexes, all with 100 units each, stuff like that.
And it's the stuff we talk about, the stuff we preach, even the stuff I had in my course too. It's like it's literally the same things that we do. Like it's the same thing. So it's like this is just a new era we're living in, and it's so you got to really, because we've been so encumbered by it over the last 3 years. That's like you step out and you look at it, and it's like that's kind of what we're doing. Everybody else is living in this completely different world.
I was gonna comment on that exact thing, because I always feel like we have our own biases. Like I think you led by saying that you see the revolution and you see it like happening. While it is happening, when you take a step back and see like how the day-to-day person lives their life compared to what we've niched down our community to, like we're almost like laser focused within our own community and building it up from like the inside out. But when you look at the whole realm of like everybody that is in our quote unquote not necessarily our personal community, but just like everybody like that you've known growing up in your city, stuff like that. There's a lot of people that still have not tapped into it. But I think what's happening is that the people that we're touching are at least part of our personal communities, and then they are learning about it, and then they're telling the other everyday person. Like just because, like you said, it's a domino effect. We teach somebody something, the person that we taught sees us as the expert. But I think what's more important is that they become the expert to somebody else, because it's like you always have a mentee and a mentor. You're always somewhere in between. You're never just the mentee. Like you may learn how to flip one single family house. Because you've done one flip, you are now an expert to somebody who's done none. And I think that is where it's going to start to really like do like a family tree. Like you start off with somebody at the top it's never nobody at the top really. There's always somebody that they learn from too. So for us, it may be Robert Kiyosaki, it may be Brandon Turner, it may be somebody that we learn from, but they learn from somebody else. But the best thing about it is that we went off and went to go teach other people about it. And then it just keeps on getting further and further as you get that more down the tree.
Yeah, man. And that's how this kind of stuff spreads. Because especially whenever, you like, obviously we create a platform and all these kind of things. It's like the person that, Robert Kiyosaki or Brandon Turner learned from obviously didn't have as near of a platform as Robert Kiyosaki and Brandon Turner have. So it's like everybody learns it and they decide whether they, the scale of people they want to teach. They want people to get this information. We just decided, because we didn't have to tell nobody none of this. We could have just we figured it out. And by the way, this is pretty still pretty new. For the first year, we wouldn't have any intention of even having a podcast or nothing. It's just crazy because we only remember it like this way now. Not really remember, but that's the only way we're comfortable with it now. It's like a podcast, putting out content, doing all this stuff. That's the thing we're comfortable with now. But for that first year and about a few months, we the entire 2018 and then half of 2019, we didn't put nothing out. There was no content. There was no podcast. There was never even an intention to have a podcast until I just thought about, hey, let's start a podcast. That's something that we could do. But until then, but it's so crazy to think because it's like, imagine, I feel like we wouldn't be nearly as far along if we didn't start the podcast.
Yeah, people always say that too. Like the more you give, the more it's given back to you. So we just keep on putting out stuff for other people to take heed to, for other people to be put on game, and we keep getting stuff as a result. We get investors that are investing into us. We get the network. With all these different people that we bring onto the podcast. It's just a lot of stuff that comes back to us as a result of us giving first. So just have a give mentality in general, and just I don't know. That's really, I think that's the real key to it all.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's a fact. So yeah, man. But other than that, man, business is good. Everything else is good. I just did want to mention that briefly. Business has been really good. March was a good year. I was looking at my numbers, and
March was a good year.
Yeah, March was a good month. I was looking at my numbers, and it was the best months I've had this year. I mean, it's been a short year so far, but March was definitely good. It's funny. I'm briefly mentioning this because I was looking at what I was doing in the cleaning business earlier this today before we got on here, and I was looking at how much I spent in marketing. I spent $4,500 in marketing, and it's so crazy because you can kind of look at your the thing about, I'm really like a analytical person when it comes to numbers and like the data, and that even with the podcast and with the everything we do, I love to look at the analytics, and so I think it's important. One thing I just want to mention is when people get into business, to make sure that you're aware of your numbers as well. Because, I was looking at this and it's like, okay, I spent $4,500 in marketing, $1,300 went to one source, and I only made $1,800 in revenue off that $1,300 I spent. So meaning it cost me, I had 79 leads come in, spent $1,300, so it cost me $16 a lead, and that pretty much meant it cost me $156 to close one lead, right? As opposed to another avenue that I put $1,200 into. I got 71 leads from there, and I made $7,296 from that one avenue. So I put less money in, and I made more than 3 times the amount, and I closed 37% of those leads. So it's like, if I didn't know that, I would just have kept doing the same thing stupidly this next month, putting money into the same avenues and wondering like, why am I not growing? Why is my sales not increasing? Why is this not improving? But it's like, bro, because you don't even know what's going on in your business. You're not aware of the heartbeat or the bloodline that's happening in terms of like where the money needs to be going. So it's like, now I know, boom, I cut off that trash avenue, and I'm going all in on this other one that had a 37% conversion rate. And so now in April, sales are going to go through the roof because I'm doubling down on one of these other avenues. So it's like, I say that's very important to know your numbers. Make sure that you have it every month. You're always tracking your numbers. This isn't in anything. It's very important.
Business tip of the day. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Like the quick tip.
Yep.
So, but yeah,
we had a guest, didn't we?
We did. It was we had a good episode. It was I'll let you start off.
I can introduce him, man. For sure. So this is one of the guys that I really wanted to bring on the episode because I knew how much value he had, and I think that he's been tremendously undervalued based on what he actually brings to the table, like what he's built in his total portfolio and what he teaches. So his name is Pushman Mitch. He goes by Pushman Mitch. His real name is Kahseem, and he's in the Atlanta area. He's built a portfolio of 100. I can't tell all his business already, but he's built a portfolio of 150 rental cars, and like that's his business model. And he really he's like one of the top rental car agencies in the Atlanta market altogether. And like he just has tremendous value that he was able to provide for us, provide for our listeners. I'm hoping because of the fact that he's like an open book. You can ask him any question, he gonna answer it for you. And that's where we saw that definitely on throughout the entire episode. But I don't know, there's just so much that was packed into the episode. But I think he really explained it in a very easy to understand way. Like he shows that anybody can get into this game, anybody can make money from it, and he just goes through all different steps that people can go through in order to start off with just like economy cars and go all the way up to exotic cars like the G8s or the I8s and G wagon stuff like that. So, and what you think about it?
No, it was good. I think it definitely new. He's making money with exotic cars. I think he mentioned he was definitely making well over 6 figures a month with just renting out his cars, and so it's kind of crazy. Once again, it's another industry for people to get into. We've brought so many different people from so many different industries. This is just another one that if you resonate with this one, please don't. The thing is, listen to these podcasts, but take action. If there's something you resonate with, take action. All right, we're talking about all these different businesses. It's not for your entertainment. Make sure you're taking. We hope you're entertained. We hope you're getting this edutainment. But at the same time, make sure you're taking action. And so that's what, the biggest thing that I want people to take away from this is if you want to get into this, there's a call to action at the end. He talks about his course. You can definitely look into that. And, the thing, like I was just mentioning, you got to do different things to get a different result. If you want to make 6 figures a month, the things that you've been doing obviously haven't been working because you're listening to this podcast right now. So, it's time to do something differently. So, if this is it for you, then please tap in. So, but other than that, let's get into it.
All right, man. Pushman Mitch, what's good, bro? Man, we've been looking forward to bring you on here for a minute. How you doing, bro?
I'm blessed, no stress, man. I'm out here playing chess.
Yes, sir, man.
Let's get it.
Hey, man, so, yeah, like I said, we really appreciate you coming on here, man. You was already dropping just, like, fire bars just for the first, 10 minutes before we even hopped on the call, so before we hopped on the recording, so we appreciate everything. What's up, Alex?
For the people that's watching on YouTube or the people that's not watching, the dude is sitting right now in the G550 as we record the episode, so that's just a taste of, what's kind of going on, so...
Okay, yeah, y'all know. Got to switch up the cars, man. I got to live. I pulled up on him 500 yesterday. He was like, this man is living his content.
Absolutely.
And he's speaking to me from a McLaren 570. I don't know if y'all know him 500 is, but
of
he's
course.
Credit guru specialist from credit to cash. He just got his McLaren 570S rep, satin blue, and he got the satin blue 4G auto wheels on it. So he just don't do nothing minor. He got to do everything major. So when I pulled up on him in the G-Wagon, he was like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, you got to switch it up. Every time I'll be like, only when they paying attention.
Yeah.
Man. No, that's the play, man. But yeah, we really want to get into your whole story because we know that you got a serious fleet of rental cars. We know you just teach entrepreneurship and just general financial literacy on top of everything. I think you're multi-dimensional overall, and I think you have a lot of value that is underappreciated right now. Because looking at your followers on Instagram, I'm like, this dude should easily have 300,000. I mean, hands down, it's coming. I think you're really pushing yourself out, putting yourself out there now. So I just want to catch you before you get up there and you forget about everybody else. So glad we were able to get you early.
I just like the organic stuff,
yeah.
Bro. But yeah, for me, it's I just started really putting myself out there on social media. I've been doing this for about 6 years. I've been in the rental car space. So for the official introduction, I'm Pushman Mitch. I got one of the biggest rental car agencies in Atlanta. I got branches in Miami, LA, moving to Houston soon with it. So I'm going to take over as many places I can take over just because it's not a hard business model that I formed. It's very, very easy to adapt in most markets. So with that being said, I mean, I pretty much teach the rental car space. I teach people how to start their fleet from a novice to an expert, meaning a first-time entrepreneur, first-time business owner, to experts who already have businesses and everything like that. So if you already are in position, I can show you how to make 6 figures a month by just getting, like I was telling you before we got recording, just 4 cars get you 6 figures easily, get to 7 figures in a year easily.
Well, what's your car portfolio look like then?
So I got about 50 cars that I own. No, 52 now. Actually, I
Wow.
got 52 cars that I. And then I got 150 cars in my network. So that means that my network is if I go to Miami, I got a network of cars there. If I got a company next to me that has a rental car service and I broker deals through them, they're in my network. So how that works is I just simply broker deals on top of whatever their price is that they want to charge.
We like to start off these episodes by always getting into our guest story, like their background. So you started talking about a little bit like with your upbringing with your parents, but like we really want to go deep into like how did you become who you are today? Like what kind of things were you seeing early on as far as like financial wise? What were your parents doing? What were you seeing growing up that led you to where you are today?
Man, I don't think. I mean, I just got super lucky for real. Like I got super lucky. It's circumstantial. My mom luckily married this guy who got into the military. My stepdad, right? He got us to be able to travel to different countries. I used to live in Germany before I played ball in Germany. I lived there before when I was younger. I lived clearly. I ended up finishing school out in Georgia, which is where I am now. But I was able to travel all around and see different ways of life. Because where I'm from in Philly, it's like there's nobody around where I'm from that's successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially not. I mean, past where surface level. Like my father, he drives trucks. He still drives trucks. He drove trucks before I was born, and he still drives them now. With nothing to show for it, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He still, I'm sure he lives a fine life to his satisfaction, but to me, it's nothing to show for it when if you sit down, you're struggling. Like when you got to work for a month, if you're panicking and you've been working for a company for 60 years, like come on, bro, like like my dad is in his 60s, but at the same time, like so for me, I never seen a successful, or what not successful. Let me say that. Say it differently. I never seen a high income earner like firsthand until I moved out of my inner circle. So there's nobody in my family other than I think my uncle, my great uncle, was probably the most successful person. He kept a distance from us, so we knew of him, and he was like a college basketball coach, and he was pretty successful too. But I never really encountered him. You know what I mean? But I did know of him. But other than that, I never seen anyone. So my mom luckily had us moving all around, and I got to see different ways of life, and I got to see So I'll give you a quick narrative. Like in Philly, where I'm from, nobody's talking about college at the schools we went to. Nobody was talking about that. Like nobody is like, yo, what college you going to when you get out of high school? We're not even talking about that. We lucky if we make it out of high school and finish for real, because there's no child left behind. So they'll pass you as long as you keep coming to school. They'll send you to the next grade. Now, when I came down to Georgia, it's not like that. They'll fail you. They'll put you and leave you in the same grade. Also, you got a graduation test, and it's a lot different. So the culture's different. So I came down and I learned a lot of things from down here. I learned and a lot of parents are real supportive. They go out of town with the kids, when they got sporting events and stuff like that. Never seen nothing like that ever. It was like a culture shock. Because, in the house I grew up with, man, when you hit the kitchen lights, cockroaches scattered.
But I've heard that story before. My
Yo,
parents tell that story all the time, for sure.
Like, it was different, bro. Like, so that's what I grew up like. So, I never seen that other side of it. And I never thought to, because that wasn't in my circle. I never thought that that's what I was supposed to see or supposed to be a part of, unless I was going to be a basketball player, rapper. At the end of the day, I never had aspirations of wealth in reality. Like, it was just like a pipe dream. Like, I go to the NBA or I become a rapper. And, that's the only thing I know, people who can make money who look like me. Or otherwise, how else will we become rich? So, luckily, I moved around and I met the right people. And circumstantially, after a whole bunch of 9-to-5s and stuff like that, I literally got lucky and was like, I don't want no boss. You know what I'm saying? I ain't think it was me, because I don't smoke. I don't drink. I've never been like a follower for real. Like, I've never been a person who like, just because the crowd's doing it, I need to do it. So I was just one day I was sitting, like when I was working like for the jail, sitting like, why am I not rich right now? Like, why, what is wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with me? You know what I mean? It was like young people, like when you move to Atlanta, you'll see that. I think every black person should live in Atlanta, at least for a little while, visit Atlanta. Because you start seeing black people who look like you just riding around, living in high rises and driving Lamborghinis and going up in like Neiman Marcus and spending 10, 20K, and you be like, yo, this dude is younger than me. What am I missing? Like, what's going on? I think it's something else going on. I need to figure out what that is. Right. And that's where the curiosity came from, because it just was like, damn, I'm working hard as hell like everybody else, and my bank account don't look right. Like, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, it don't look right. I'm working. I don't got no vices. I don't smoke. I don't got nothing that I pay for every day other than food. So I was like, I still don't got no money. Like, what's wrong with me? So that was like a self-reflection thing. And then that made me just kind of get curious. And luckily, if you've seen the Dave Shands interview, you know, I was working at the jail. I went into this meeting, and I met this guy. I got forced to go to a budgeting meeting at the jail. My chief, shout out to my chief, Labat. He basically forced us to go, and I was like, I don't want to go to this damn budgeting meeting. What I need to learn about budgeting for? Knowing damn well I don't got no pay for it.
Ain't got no money, but you're just too prideful though at the same time.
It's just like, but we just don't know. Like at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I'm thinking that I'm living a pretty cool life. I was making like 70, 80 grand a year working there with great benefits. So I thought that was pinnacle of my life type swag, you know what I'm saying? Of that mindset that I had. But, you know, I went to this budgeting meeting, and then keep in mind, my credit is like a 400 something at this time. So I'm not even trying to use my credit to buy nothing. I don't have no credit cards, nothing at this time. You know what I'm saying? My credit is just trash. So, like,
what's that from? Like, why your credit? You have a good income. You have low expenses.
I never even tapped into it. Like, I never, like, if it was something wrong on there, I wouldn't even know because I didn't care. The only time I cared about my credit was when I was applying for an apartment. And I wanted to see if I can get approved because I didn't have no evictions or nothing like that. I thought I was good. I don't got no evictions, so I should be straight. You know what I'm saying? So it was that type of swag, and I was moving that way. I was happily moving that way. I had some money in my pocket. I was doing a lot of overtime and all of that. But luckily, I went to that meeting, sparked my interest. He started talking that talk that I like, and something about it made me say, ask him a question. Now, if I didn't ask him this question, none of this would be here. I promise you. It was a catalyst. So I literally just asked him. I was just like, I told him my credit is trash. This is my situation. I had applied for a credit card one time. They didn't accept me. I got this low credit score. Where do I start at to start building it up? And he told me play by play what to do. I did it exactly what he said. And exactly what he said to do, it worked. And because that worked, and my credit shot up, and they offered me higher credit limits off of I got a secure credit card. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Put the cheese down. Kept payments on for 6 months, under 30%. Paid it off on time. Early, not on time. And I did that for 6 months. And then damn right, they gave me a credit increase. And then they sent me a unsecured credit card, right? And then I was like, bet. Like, he was not lying. You know what I'm saying? So my credit score shot up. My credit, I already started a revolving credit. Now I got some ages of credit going. And, it's just going up from there. So now I'm just curious. I'm like, damn, maybe I should be taking this more seriously. So I started looking into a lot more stuff involving credit, learning myself, and then now I'll become a credit somewhat of a specialist. I'm learning everything. I'm learning how to pull everything off of my thing, and now that's all I'm doing. So I'm thinking like, yo, it's a lot that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I just bet on myself. That damn near, and that combined with Steve Harvey damn commercials that come on every day talking about if you don't jump, you'll never know if you can fly. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, he was like, if you hate your job, you should quit. I was like, you're right. I hate my job. I hate my job, man. And then and he got me at the right time, and I jumped off, and it was one of the best decisions ever. Not easy, not simple, but it definitely was the best decision because now I look up, and I can't even believe. Like, I think it's fake. The way I live now, it feels fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't feel like reality. When I look up and I see that I get like deposits and wires every day. Like, when I wake up, go to sleep, money just dropped in my account day and night. I don't even got to work at my own car lot no more because I got, employees that run the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I literally just go over there every now and again just to say what's up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, wow. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went from driving Uber and Lyft, 16-hour shifts, 7 days a week. And now I don't even gotta work. I'm about to go to Colombia tomorrow, like for a week, just because, by myself, just because. So
how did you actually get into? Because I really want to dive into the rental car stuff. So how did you actually, get into the rental car game at early on and at that point? Could you kind of talk about that and how you were able to kind of make that happen early on with however you started? You might have started. Obviously, you're doing the exotics now. And before we were talking, you kind of mentioned about, some of the lower tier cars. So is that kind of, did you start with the lower tier cars or did you start with the exotics or how did you get into that? Could you kind of get into that?
I started with a 2008 Jeep Wrangler JK. So I only started simply because my car note was high because I had that low credit score I told y'all about when I got my first car. So when I got it, the APR rate was high as hell. So I was just trying to figure a way to pay that note off without looking crazy and drive the car of my dreams. So I'm a Jeep guy. I always loved Jeeps. That's what I like. So in order for me to get that car, I clearly had to finance it. I couldn't pay for it cash. So I financed that one, started renting it out. I luckily ran into a guy who told me about Raleigh Rides, and that's Turo now. It used to be called that. So now I got in on that, rented my Jeep out, and then I found out how much money I can make off that. I just was trying to pay the note. Once it then went out a couple times in a row, and I'm like, damn, I just made 2 racks. I'm like, hold on. I said, this thing might be something. So then, stuff like that happens, and it's just like a switch goes off in your head. You're like, if I could do this with 1, I can do this with 10.
You said the Jeep was your car, personal car, or was it a car that you got intent to? Did you get the car with the intent to rent it out immediately?
No, I didn't get it with the intent to rent it out. I only got it to drive only.
Okay.
I didn't purchase it to rent it out. That was that was luck. The first thing I heard about renting out stuff was Airbnbs. I fell into that conversation because everybody in the gym who hoop with me, because I live in Atlanta, a city full of hustlers, and we in Buckhead hooping, and they just like, hey man, I'm checking on my Airbnbs. I gotta flip them. They talking about flipping Airbnb. I'm like, what the hell is that? What are you talking about flipping Airbnb? Like, yeah, man, we got Airbnbs in the city, man. We got all over city. I said, what? What the hell is that? So then they put me on game. They looked at me like I was crazy because I didn't have none. And then clearly I got hip to that, jumped on the Airbnb wave. So that's what me even getting the approach to renting something. And then when I heard about the car thing, I was like, no brainer.
Yeah.
No brainer. And then, clearly after I was successful with the car, with that one car, I started going ahead and getting more and more and more.
No, and I think it's so important about who you surround yourself with. Like you mentioned earlier, if you were in Philly, you wouldn't even been getting on any of this in general. But like just because you surround yourself with entrepreneurs who doing Airbnb, who's doing Turo, relay rides, with what it was back then, you start saying, okay, I see that if they can do it, I know I can do it too. So I just need to figure out what they're doing and start implementing that same strategy. And now I think like I told you earlier, we've been doing the rental cars as well. But one thing that I haven't heard a lot about, like, because we actually had somebody who came on the podcast a while back, like last year this time, and it was doing the rental cars themselves. But one thing we didn't really get into is about exit strategy. And I always, in real estate, I love starting with the end in mind. So when I buy a property, before I even, when I'm analyzing it, I'm analyzing based on what I can sell it for or what I can rent it for, not necessarily just for what I can buy it for. So I'm trying to figure out what's the exit strategy for these cars. Like, do you have a play for that? Like, what is that like in a course or anything like that too?
Well, I kind of already told you one, but at the end of the day, it's many exit strategies. There's always, these are the questions you got to ask before you go in the game. Why are you doing it? So that dictates what your exit strategy is. If you're getting into it to drive the car of your dreams, then you may not want the same exit strategy. You may want that to go on for as long as possible. So you may get 2 cars just to have one that you drive for free. You rent one out just to pay both of the notes. You don't care too much about the other one. You just want the one that you want, your dream car, right? So in reality, that's a play. So 2 things. Clearly, you can get them early enough to where the mileage is up enough for you to sell it, make your money back at the end. You've been renting out the whole time, so it's no loss for you, right? So that's exit strategy number 2. Clearly, you can, depending on what car we're talking about, because if you're talking Lamborghinis and stuff like that, they hold their value if you buy them used. Matter of fact, they do more. So in a time like this time where it's scarce, they stop doing production of like certain Lambos. Like, so let's take my 2017 Lamborghini Huracan. I bought it for 167. You know what I mean? Like a year ago, bought it for 167. Now it's selling for 210. Now the whole entire time that you have it, you be renting it out. Depending on the person, if you're not renting it out, that's cool too. But when you go to sell it, you're getting 210 versus the 267. I mean the 167. So it's a few different plays you can do it with. You can sell them off. You can keep it going. You can sell the entire business. So that's where I talked about it on live earlier. You can literally have your whole rental car fleet, package it up, sell it to a whole nother person who wants to start the business. You get what I'm saying? You can give them all your cars and have them take over your whole listing.
Real quick then, if because you mentioned like the cars are pretty much appreciating and increasing in value for certain vehicles.
Yeah, now, that's high end exotics. They hold
it's high end though.
So for the tier one kind of cars or entry level cars that when you're starting off, what would be more so the exit strategy with those? Because obviously, if you buy a car, let's say it has a certain amount of miles, you add 50,000 miles to it. Now it has 120,000 miles. Obviously, it did increase in value. If you're talking a
Right.
Nissan.
That's what I'm saying. So again, that's depending on what you want to do. But this is what I say all the time. So I get those cars cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's if something happens to the car, it's fine. But how I get my money is clearly by renting it out. So if I buy the economy car cash, rent it out, it pays for itself clearly already. I get my money back, and now I'm getting all profit. Normally, 9 times out of 10 with those economy cars, I'm putting them on like Get Around for Lyft and Uber drivers. They're going to be the same guy or girl driving it for months, sometimes years. So if it's the same person driving it after they did paid for it for 8, 9, 10 months, you know what I'm saying? After like when it's coming up on that mileage limit that you mentioned, I can just be like, hey, look, man, you've been driving this car for 9 months, man. You want to just keep it? Just give me 2,000 and you can have it. So now you done made money.
How much you pay for it though?
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have made money the whole time you had it. You literally paid for it cash.
Yeah.
You made profit. You made your money. They give you 2,000 on the way out. Now you got that choice to keep that 2 Gs and go get another car. You know what I'm saying? Of the same situation when you got that one, like off of OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, buy here, pay here, and go do the same exact thing. Or you can just take that money and just call it a day. Go invest in something else. So that was a good investment for you. You got your ROI. you got your ROI, you made money on it, on top of it, and then you got rid of it. It's not holding. There's no tie to it. You're not tied to it if you do it in that way. But again, some people might keep those cars, give them to their kids. You know what I'm saying? As a first car. It's so many different ways, but it only depends on your particular situation. But there's a whole bunch of extra strategies for it.
So I think a lot of people in our audience may have they may have decent or good credit, but they may not have all the cash on hand right now. And I know one thing for the Uber and Lyft drivers, I think. So I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have to have a car that's 5 years or younger, or maybe even 7 years or younger to do the Uber and Lyft thing, on Turo and hire a car? So is that a thing where you say we want to go buy one of those type of cars and that price is 10 to 12,000? Then if I don't have that currently in my portfolio to drop 12 bands,
I wouldn't buy it.
You wouldn't
buy it. I'm just saying a deal. Those deals. I'm saying because a lot of people. Why OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace are so clutch is because they give those deals away. There's so many people that are not credit people. Just as many people as there are credit people, there's cash people.
Right.
And those are people who buy cars cash. You know what I'm saying? And there's really a lot. You got to look. They're not just falling up the air. You got to look out of town sometimes. But there are people who get on Facebook Marketplace with 2014, 2015, 2016 Hyundai Sonata. 4,000, give me 3,000. I just need money because they bought it cash. You get what I'm saying? They need fast money again because they spend everything cash. There are some people who are just that way. So if you know that, right, that's where you're going to go look for those deals. You don't got to take every deal. I don't encourage nobody to jump in anything where they're not prepared for it. Wait till you are prepared for it. That's why I talk about joint ventures and people who are already, have good credit and stuff like that, who already have cash. You get into joint ventures with them. But if you are in position to get it cash and you find a good deal, then jump on it. If you're not, then wait till you are in positions for that deal that makes sense to you and your business model. You get what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of different deals for different people in different situations in their life, but it has to be what's going to work for you. You know what I mean? We still have to be intelligent and do our due diligence when we do anything. You know what I mean?
Yep. So there's got to be a criteria at least though that you're establishing along with just the price of it. What about the Carfax? What about the mileage? What about
you could always check the Carfax. You could take a mechanic with you. It's the same exact criteria as if you go to a dealership because they get their cars from the same thing. They buy when y'all trade y'all cars in. Do y'all understand that a car dealership takes it and they take it? If they take it, they do the same thing. When they go to auction, if you get a dealer's license, you're getting the same cars that these dealers who get them at the lot got. Same ones. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're brand new cars. And they brand new cars, no mileage. If they're used cars, they're getting them the same way we getting them. So the same criteria should be the same. If you're a person who thinks you need to bring a mechanic, bring a mechanic. You get what I'm saying? You can go to yourmechanic.com and then go shop for a car. They'll come out and do a 3-point inspection on a car. Get them a 3-point inspection. They'll go look at it. They'll tell you that thing, tires, brakes, all that, right before while you at the lot or while you with a person. So, you invested in something, so you might want to invest in a mechanic to come out there and check it out. Two things: drive it on the highway, drive it on the regular roads, just to make sure it is actually capable to do what you got to do. Check the AC, make sure the heat and cooling work. Then get busy. You know what I'm saying? It's a risk in it, but I say that to say that you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. In reality, I had somebody talking to us earlier. They was like, "Man, I want to get into it, but I don't want to take risks." And the answer is, that's where the money at.
Yep. No,
That's where
I
the
feel
money
you.
at.
I think one way that people try to mitigate their risk though is like through setting up some type of LLC, some type of security blanket, like LLC, any type of corporation. So now, if somebody's looking to go that route, are they able to like finance a car, purchase a car, and put it into the into the LLC name or something like that?
It's a lot harder to start when you first start an LLC. Basically, to buy cars under your LLC, you want to have at least 2 years of business established. I think that's my brother pulling up on me, y'all. And he don't know I'm doing an interview, but they've been calling me. I got it on on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
But either way, so when you first start a business, you need 2 years of business in reality before you can get stuff purchased it and personal guarantor on your and put it on the business's credit. If not, literally impossible to get your car bought off your business. All right, that's one. But what you can do is buy cars in your personal. I don't encourage more than 2. That's gonna always be my stance on that. But if you were to buy a car in your personal that you want to switch over to your business after 2 years, you can do that. You can get financing through your business after 2 years and then switch it over to the business. Very possible to do. So that would be that case. But I encourage everybody to start an LLC when they go into business anyway.
Yeah.
Just because you can get so many benefits of having a business. It's separate from yourself. You can get tax write-offs because all the expenses that you do with a business, you can write them off, right? Also, you can get, like what I'm getting for my new home. I'm about to get a $1.2 million house business statement loan. 1 year business statements. Just because I got a business, 1 year business statements give me a $1.2 million house. All I got to do is put down 10%. No problem. You know what I'm saying? So everybody start an LLC just for the purchase alone. Ages of history get you be able to buy cars after your credit after 2 years. That's how we get Lamborghinis off the lot. And instead of having to be in position with your own personal finances, you can use your business finances. It's a no-brainer for me.
So basically, establishing the business early, but understanding that you're not going to be able to finance with the business for 2 years. So I guess you can be building your portfolio using those two card. Matter of fact, you didn't talk about that 2-card method on the podcast. You talked about that to us before we started. So that was a whole bunch of gems that was dropped that everybody got to miss out on. I don't know if you want to get into that again, just so everybody else can hear that, or if you don't, that's fine too.
I think the statement that was made was about you personally. You were saying y'all was gonna try to get the 10 cars, right? And I said, it's not really about the amount of cars you have. It's just really about the quality of the cars you have, particularly if you're gonna go into the exotic car space. And I basically broke down to you how, as a novice, if you're gonna become the plug, there's multiple ways to do this, but one way to build it up tier by tier. If I was talking to one of my mentees and I was going to guide him along the way to becoming the plug and actually having 4 top tier cars in his fleet, this is what I would tell him. I would tell him to start off with 2 economies financed on his personal credit. Also, he would start an LLC at this time and let that start building up. He would rent those 2 economy cars out for 6 to 8 months. Then he would go back and trade both cars in and get 2 new cars at a higher tier, which would be over $30,000. Over $30,000 car, that's going to get him to second tier. Once he's at second tier, he will be able to hold those 2 cars. So if I'm giving you the car types, I'm giving you Range Rover and the GLE, right? You get those 2 cars, you're going to be making a little bit more money than the economy cars we're making per month, right? So now that you're at that second tier, you do that again for another 6 to 8 months, run it up with those 2 cars. Building up the mileage a little bit because you're renting them out, no big deal, because you don't care about that. You're about to sell them anyway in about 6 to 8 months. You're going to then go and get you the next tier, an i8 and a G-Wagon, right? So that's the 3rd tier. And now that you got a loan over $70,000, the next time you go get a loan, you can get loans over $100,000 because you went to the last tier that lenders look at to see if you can hold it down. Why do they look at that 3rd tier first before they want to give you a Lamborghini? Why? Because there's no way for you to get over a $60,000 loan and not have $1,000 a month note. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
month, if you got 66, if you're borrowing like the APR rate on that $60,000 loan is going to be about, they're going to throw like another 3 or 4,000 on top. So you got $1,000 a month note that you're going to hold together for 6 to 8 months. Right? You're going to be doing this 2 cars at a time. Every time you do it, you're going to be trading them in. And you don't care if you're upside down. These are cars that you're making money off of. You're renting them out. So your note is going to be $1,000 a month. And you're just paying it off. You got those going, right? And then you're going to go back in. And then you're going to, after by this time is up, you've been making like what, 6,000 or 7,000 a month per car. You get what I'm saying? Because you're at the top tier. You got G-Wagon and I8. I8s are the best renters in the game. I got 4 I8s, and I can't stop buying them. They're just too good. They always gone. They're like an everyday driver. Supercar, they're hybrid. They're really, really good on gas. Very easy to drive. So after that, you got those guys making a lot of money per month, but now you're ready to go to top tier. So if you were to do this and you were building your business that whole time, now you're in position to, because there's no time limit to this. I'm just giving y'all the minimum time. I'm just giving y'all to give y'all a rough draft. So now that you got this last tier cars, you're gonna go trade those 2 in and go get you the top tier cars, which would be what? Bentley truck, 2020 G-Wagon, Lamborghini Urus, these type of cars. Those cars are the hottest cars in the game. They make $40,000 a month by themselves. So if you were to be able to trade in and get 2 of those, and then go ahead and get additional 2 on your business, that means you got 4. You're generating easily 6 figures a month and 7 figures a year with just 4 cars. And that's the way you can do it, being the plug. You becoming the plug, meaning, what do I mean when I say you're being the plug? That means that you're adding the actual auto trades onto your personal credit.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the big dogs get Lamborghini trucks, Bentley trucks, and stuff like that, without putting it on their personal credit, is they have the actual auto trade on their personal history. So what I would do is have a business that has 2 years of business. I would put myself as a member of the company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the person with the auto trades, you know what I'm saying, over 100,000 or over 70,000. So now when I go into the dealership to apply for the actual car loan, the Lamborghini Urus, I'm going to be getting it in my business name, and I'm going to be personally guaranteeing it. And how can I do that? Because I'm a member of the company, right?
And they see that auto trade on your personal.
Yeah, and I have the auto trade on my personal. So now I'm available to get it to the highest tier. And now it's not going to go on my personal credit. It's going to go on my business credit. Only thing that's going to go on my personal credit is the hard inquiry, right? So now I got the Lambo trucks that generate high levels of money, right? And I don't have to have 20, 30, 40 cars. With 4 of them guys, I'm telling you can do that by yourself. Where that means you don't have to hire other employees. You don't have to have a whole bunch of people run around for you to pick up all these different cars. You simply will have 4 cars. I mean, you can do a 1 or 2, honestly. You still do well, but you're going to have the issue that you have more customers than cars. And you never want to have that. But with 4, you got just enough to make it make sense. You get what I'm saying? Where pretty much every time they call you, you got something. But I'm going to tell you, if you get 4 Uruses, they're going to be going 30 out of 30 days. And when I tell you that if you do a minimum of $1,500 a day, you're looking at $42,000 a month. I'm just being real with y'all. But if you were on the cheap side and you want to say, oh, I'm a beginner, I want to take $1,000 a day, $1,000 a day for the Urus. It's going to be going like hotcakes, 30 out of 30. That's $30,000 a month, 1 car. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, bro, I'm just really amazed.
4 of them guys is 12. It's $120,000 a month. So, that's the reality. So when people ask me, like, "Oh, how you making the 6, 7?" Bro, I can do it with 4. So just imagine what I'm doing with 50. You get what I'm saying?
Right, because you got 50 in your man. What's you talking about? 120 with 4, shoot, man.
And that's just real numbers I just gave y'all. And people think you got to have all of these crazy amounts of cars, but you don't. You can just really do it with like 4. You don't got to have. And there are real rental car agencies that have about 5 cars. They just get different types. They'll get a Huracan, they'll get a Urus, they'll get a Rolls Royce Ghost, they'll get a Rolls Royce Cullinan, and they'll get like a Wraith, and then that'll be their whole fleet. And they make very, very good money with just those cars. There's so many different plays within the industry. There's the hourly rates, there's the video shoots, there's the photo shoots, there's the proms, there's the all of these different things you got that you can make money, and you can do advertisement. You can say, hey, look, you know, I charge this much a month to advertise your business on my windshield, this supercar that everybody looks at everywhere it goes. You know what I'm saying? There's so many plays within it that I would be dumb just not to be able to get six figures off of this, because it's that simple. But to some people, they can't see it. It's just too simple.
Yeah,
no doubt.
You get what I'm saying? Like y'all have a brand, right? Y'all have a brand. If I told you that, look, man, I charge. Do you think it would be worth it to you to pay me $1,500 a month to put your Instagram right here on my windshield? How many leads you think you would get? I say, look, man, I drive in.
Based
I
on
go
the
to
car
high
you
volume.
get, just because the attention
That's
that the
what I'm
car
saying.
get,
I'm gonna put it on the front windshield of a Lambo, and it's gonna say y'all Instagram tag. You know how many followers y'all gonna get? I'm telling you, look, let me tell you how serious it is. My boy Neo, he started off with the little one right here on the windshield. All right, that was getting me another 200 to 300 followers every time I'm driving around or parking it in front of these really expensive like hotels, right? I'm parked in front of the St. Regis with that. And then he said, look, man, I'm going to put my face on the back. So he got his face there. He got a giant Instagram tag on the left door. And then he got one on the right door because he don't want nobody to miss it from every angle. Because that's how many leads you can generate. Now imagine if I charge you to put your logo there, your brand there. I could put your logo on this one. I can put your brand on the right fender. And then I could charge people for that. Don't even got to rent it out.
I got driving around the city.
I got exotics that I don't even rent out. I just advertise with them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Best advertisement you can ever get. They're going to be asking me, oh, man, I know you so-and-so. Yeah, that's definitely who I am, for sure. You know what I'm saying? They following it. That's not that guy. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what's going on. And you're going to get leads like that. So, at the end of the day, how you do it?
So then what if somebody is like, because I'm just thinking, if someone's in one of those like lower class markets, like let's say you're in Kansas City, can you realistically rent out a Lambo Urus in Kansas City for $1,500 a month?
No, I meant $1,500 a day. But no, I'm not saying you can or can't in Kansas City. But what I would do is I would gauge the market. That's what's so cool about these different platforms. Turo, Hire Car, Get Around. You can look at people's listings. You can see how many rentals they're getting off. You can see the type of cars that are doing very well in the market. You got a cheat code. You got a good little cheat sheet to see what it looks like. And if you like me, you're creative. You can create your own lane in your own market. That's what I'm about. Like, 'cause when I started doing it, there was nobody doing it.
Yeah.
I would tell people about Turo. They'd be like, "What the hell is a Turo?
No,
what is that?"
I ain't gonna lie. The first time I heard about Turo was from Alex. Like we went to LA, and that's like in 2018. We went to LA for like just a vacation trip, and he had said, "Yeah, I'm booking the car on Turo." I'm like, bro, if you don't go to Enterprise or something, like, what are you doing? Like these bootleg websites you going to? I remember. So that's the first time I ever heard of Turo. But then a couple years later,
X5 too. It was like a wrapped X5 with a brown interior.
I was like, man, we don't need that. Like we're Enterprise at, but no, you can tell like how everything is shifting to Turo, because I think you said back then like it wasn't nearly as popular as it was today, like as it is today. So I don't know.
It's still not that popular.
Is there any possibility for saturation of the market then?
There's no such thing as oversaturation though. That's a myth. The myth.
Expound on
that. So look, listen, saturation is a myth. You ain't in the market yet. Until you in the market, there's no saturation. There's no other person that is you. You bring your own unique network, your own unique style of work. You get to build up the listing the way you want. That is totally you. See, me, with these type of platforms, they let you be able to advertise your listings on social media. So you are in charge of how many bookings that you get. So me, like, I'm going to give you an example of what I do. I can run paid ads, set up a whole entire listing with my rental car service, and be renting them all based off of Turo. Just put my Turo listing in the bio. So I'm doing ads literally leading directly to my bio, not to the whole entire Turo list that you would look normally.
Right.
If I say I got cars available for rent in Atlanta and I send you, oh, this is where you book them, the link is in the bio, you click my link, you're not going to see every car, every I-8 on Turo. You're going to just see mine. You get what I'm saying? I brought that to the table. I brought my own creative way of marketing. I'll do skits on Instagram to make sure everybody know I got cars, and people mess with me, so that's why they mess with my cars. So I am there there's no Pushman Mitch other than me. You get what I'm saying? So you guys can bring your own unique perspective to any business. McDonald's ain't worried about Burger King. Burger King ain't worried about Wendy's. Wendy's is not worried about no Chick-fil-A. Because guess what? They all sell food, but it's no worry about no saturation because everybody got to eat. There's billions out here, not millions. And it's plenty more people that can get cars and do it. That's why I don't mind teaching it. Because look, I've been teaching it for more than a year now, and I ain't seen no dip in my business yet. You get what I'm saying? I'm getting more cars. I get more cars. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the reality.
One thing we ain't talking about though.
Like Enterprise ain't worried about.
True.
Dollar rental, they ain't worried about Hertz. They're not worried about it. It's just a part of the game. But that saturation thing is something to scare people who aren't ready for how the world works. And you know that's off easy. Oh, don't worry about it's too many cars. You don't want to do that, man. It's too many people. They try to scare me off Airbnb with that. Oh, it's getting oversaturated in Atlanta. Man, I'm making 20 racks a month. 20 racks a month off Airbnb. That's oversaturated. Wild, Keep oversaturating it then.
Yeah. And you know that's a really, I think, a very great principle just to apply in any business at all, because it's like, you know, even regardless of what business you're doing, like you said, it's like there's only like one of you, number one. So it's like even with like you know, podcasting or whatever the case may be, right? It's like a lot of people think like podcasting, oh, there's already so many people doing podcasts, or there's already so many people doing this. Like, no, nobody's doing it like you. Nobody's going to have the same perspective as you. And it's the same thing with, like, you know, you go to the store and you looking in the bread aisle, you're going to see 50,000, you know, different brands of bread, but each of them is marketing to a different consumer. It's like they're not all going after the same persons, because they know it's like different people want different things, and different people are going to resonate with different brands. So that's why it's the same thing that applies here as well too. It's just you got to realize that, like you said, man,
reality.
A lot of money out there.
Yeah, it's reality. Anybody who hear that word saturation and run with it, they just find an excuse not to start something.
I think there's a lot of excuses that prevent a lot of people from getting started. And so, like, one of them I always hear is like one thing that people always worry about because they've been seeing me doing it, and they always in my DMs like, hey man, so what about this? What about that? One question that they always ask is like, man, where you parking these cars at, bro? And you got 150 of them in your network, so like where are you parking them at at that level?
All right, so I got actual lot. So I luckily, circumstantially, I got me a lot. I combined with your boy CEO Matty J, and we got a lot out here in Atlanta. That's my Atlanta market. In Miami, I collaborated with my partner Juan, and we got a warehouse down there in Miami. In LA, I partnered up with my boy Medi, and we got a lot out there in LA. So it's just you gotta, if you expand over a certain number of cars, you need to have somewhere to store them.
Yeah.
Clearly, until you do, you can store them at close places toward the airport, like the rideshare, what's it called? The park and ride.
Yeah.
Leave the cars there, have them pick them up from there. No big deal. There's plenty of ways to do it. You can leave them in the city parking spots as well, depending on what cars they are. You just gotta adapt to whatever your city is. You know,
get creative, basically.
That's it.
I think that's what it's all about too. And
trust me, it's nothing that's gonna stop you. It's nothing that's gonna stop you once you see them dollars rolling. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna find somewhere to put them. Don't worry about it.
If they're not in like your personal area, like where you can see them constantly, do you worry anything about like theft, especially with the higher end cars?
No, higher end cars is all close net, but all of them have kill switch trackers in them, multiple. So while they're just sitting somewhere, they're kill switched already. They're not just active.
And what company is that?
You just can't just hop in and drive off. Gold Star, Visperian, and Advantage GPS. That's the ones I use. Another good one is Drone Mobile, so you can see how fast they going, all of that.
And so basically, if your car is ever moving, let's say if you had a rental, like if somebody's renting and they choose not to pay for a day, you can just kill switch it basically.
Chop that guy off and pick it up.
God, okay, cool. So, man, go ahead, Alex.
Well, it looked like he probably got to go, so we probably got to wrap it up here in a minute. So I didn't know if you want to get into something else before we had to wrap it up, Marlon.
I could always keep going, but no, there was like one more thing I wanted to ask. So you mentioned that you had like a group of employees though that work for you too now. So when you start scaling to a certain amount, like when is it time, or like what is that process like for starting to hire
I say whenever you get over 5 cars. If you get over 5 cars, it's time for you to start, getting some employees to help you out, do drop-off deliveries. Just because the intangibles that you can't predict, like, 2 cars break down in one night, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? You gotta have somebody go out there and salvage the situation, even though we got, roadside assistance and stuff like that. you got to make it make sense.
And I don't know if do you have like any discount code or something that you can give to our audience members as well?
Give me a second to create one. I'll give you one, like 10% off.
For sure, man. Hey,
just for anybody who y'all got, I'll send it to y'all. Y'all can put it on it when y'all post it.
Appreciate you for coming on today, bro. Wish you nothing but success.
Man. Both of y'all, appreciate it, man. Yeah. Dope interview.
That's it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. If you gain something of value from this podcast, please rate it. If you gain something of value, please rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Share. Hope you learned something of value today. If you did, we'd appreciate it if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more info about us on Twitter at the Monopolizers, on IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged, so be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take